Hello and Happy New Year. Let's hope that it's a better one than 2020. It's great to be back talking to you after my little holiday, and I hope that you've managed to have a break too and that you're feeling somewhat refreshed afterwards. Now, a new year is traditionally a time, isn't it, to take stock and consider the future, and this applies as much in our professional lives as it does personally. And that's why in this video I want to talk to you and share a few suggestions about how you might want to approach 2021, what you might want to focus on. Now, broadly speaking, the people who follow me fall into one of two categories. There are those of you who work for somebody else and those of you who run your own business. And of course, some of you don't fall neatly into either of those categories. Some of you are also running a small freelance business on the side, and others of you might be planning to make 2021 the year that you transition from one group to the other. So let's look at what New Year's resolutions these different groups should be making. However, before we jump into that, I wanted to tell you about something. I've partnered with a great conference to run a live online version of my course on designing websites that convert. And in the email that you would have got, there will be a link to that, and I would encourage you to check it out and maybe join me. This course is not only going to help improve your skills, it will also make you a more attractive hire, as your work will more than pay for itself many times over once you adopt this kind of approach. Anyway, enough of the shameless self-promotion, back to our New Year's resolutions. So anyway, for those of you running your own business, I would suggest that 2021 should be the year that you stop relying on word of mouth recommendation as the only way you go about winning work. Although word of mouth recommendation is great, it's a passive way of winning work. And in the volatile times that we currently live in, if the phone stops ringing, we need another way of bringing in business. The other problem with word of mouth recommendation is that it normally wins you the same kind of work as you've already got, and that can be limiting if you're keen to win bigger and better clients. So it's really interesting, this one, because the number one reason that agencies and freelancers come to me for mentorship is because of sales and marketing related issues. They either want more or better clients. So this is something that's very high on the agenda of most people who run their own business. In most cases, the answer is to build a robust sales funnel, one that can grab the attention of potential clients and hold it until they're ready to buy. This is typically done with some kind of lead magnet and through regular email communications, like this one, to be perfectly honest with you. So make 2021 the year that you build a sales funnel and become more proactive in your approach to business development. For those of you who work in-house, my advice, believe it or not, is not dissimilar in some ways. It may sound ridiculous, as those of you who work in-house don't obviously have to deal with sales and marketing problems, but there is an element of similarity. You see, most people in your organization don't really know what it is that you do or why it matters. You need to make 2021 the year that you promote your work and educate colleagues about the importance of things like user experience and digital. In effect, you need to launch an internal marketing campaign to promote the user and their digital needs. And this can involve everything from regular email newsletters, but ones that are focused on UX and how it helps your colleagues achieve their aim, not just how great you are as a department, to things like lunchtime presentations, persona posters, and open usability test sessions. Now, if you're lucky enough to work in a company where your work is appreciated, you've probably got a slightly different problem. Your team is probably a bottleneck with more work than you can handle, as everybody wants to use your services. So the answer to this is to make 2021 the year you transition from being implementers to educators and coordinators. The knowledge and expertise you have in your team needs to start gradually disseminating throughout the rest of the organization. And that is the role that you need to take on. You need to be running training sessions and holding surgeries and producing self-learning courses. When I work with teams like this, and I help them through a program of transformation, they quickly transition from being implementers of other people's ideas to being leaders in the digital direction and custodians of best practice. This is where things like design systems and playbooks and training really comes to the fore. But what about those of you who work for an agency? So you don't run the agency yourself, but you work for somebody else. What should you be focusing on in 2021? Well, I'm going to suggest something that might prove a little controversial. I want to suggest that 2021 is the year that you attempt to be more of a generalist. Now, I know that the perceived wisdom is that we should all specialise more in our careers, and it's good advice. But there is something to be said for having an understanding of other disciplines too. If we understand other disciplines, we become better team players. However, it also makes us much more adaptive. As I started out by saying, we live in a volatile and unpredictable time at the moment, and no job is really very safe at the minute. And so the broader your skills, the easier it is for you to adapt to the marketplace. So there you have it, my recommendations of what you should be focusing on in 2021. However, I would love to know your thoughts on 2021 and what it will hold for you in your role and more generally in the sector. What will you be focusing on professionally, or is 2021 just business as usual for you? Drop me an email to paul@boagworld.com and let me know. I promise I will respond to every email I receive. So that's it for this time. Thanks very much for listening, and goodbye.